Have you ever been in a situation where things weren't as good as you thought they were? Someone made you doubt yourself or made you feel guilty without knowing why? You may be the victim of a mental manipulation tactic without even realizing it. Picture this. In a relationship, someone says, "I'll keep your bank cards because we both know you lose things and can't be trusted with them." At first, it sounds reasonable, helpful even. But over time, these words sink in, planting doubt and dependence. The result? You hand over control, financial independence fades, and anxiety takes root, isolating you from the very support you need most. This is the insidious nature of gaslighting, a subtle yet powerful tactic designed to distort your sense of reality and strip away your independence. It creates anxiety, isolates you, and leaves you doubting yourself, all while handing control to the manipulator. But you are not powerless. Today, we'll expose 6 gaslighting tactics, from guilt tripping to silent treatment, and reveal how Stoic principles can guide you to protect your peace, reclaim your confidence, and regain control of your life. Stay with me, because the most impactful part is yet to come. Practical tools inspired by Stoic wisdom that you can use immediately to break free. If this resonates, share it with someone who might need it. And tell your story in the comments. It could inspire others to find their strength. Let's begin. 1. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. It doesn't shout or demand, it whispers, plants doubt, and twists your reality until you're left questioning your own mind. It thrives in relationships where trust should be sacred, turning moments of connection into tools for control. Imagine this. You share something deeply personal with a friend, someone you've known and trusted for years. During a difficult period, you decide to confide in them, expressing how a recent setback has left you feeling uncertain about your choices. At first, they listen, nodding along, but later, in subtle ways, they begin to undermine your confidence. They say things like, "Are you sure that's what happened? You tend to overthink things," or, "I think you're remembering this wrong. Weren't you the one at fault in that situation?" These comments might seem harmless, even helpful at first glance. But over time, they erode something fundamental, your trust in your own perception. You start replaying conversations in your mind, questioning your memories, and doubting your emotions. Am I overreacting? Could I be wrong about what I feel? This is the essence of gaslighting, a manipulation tactic designed to warp your sense of reality and leave you dependent on someone else's version of the truth. Gaslighting doesn't rely on dramatic lies. Instead, it uses subtle distortions. A manipulator might deny events, reframe your feelings, or suggest you're too emotional to see things clearly. Over time, this creates a cycle of self-doubt and dependence. For example, in friendships, gaslighting often appears as a denial of experiences. Suppose you confront your friend about something hurtful they said, and their response is, "I never said that. You must be imagining things." At first, you might brush it off, but with repetition, this tactic begins to take root. You question yourself more often than you challenge them, giving their version of events more weight than your own. The ancient Stoics understood that external events are often beyond our control, but our interpretation of those events is entirely ours. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." This wisdom reminds us that manipulators may attempt to distort reality, but they cannot take control of your mind unless you allow it. When faced with gaslighting, the Stoic approach is to anchor yourself to truth and clarity. Keep in mind that your perceptions are valid. Just as the Stoics advised keeping a rational and calm perspective, you can protect yourself by focusing on what you know to be true, rather than what someone tries to convince you is real. Let me share a moment from my own life. I once had a friend who always seemed supportive, but their words often left me unsettled. One day, after discussing a project I had worked hard on, they casually said, "You're so lucky to have done that. I don't think I'd have the time or skill to pull it off like you did." It sounded like a compliment, but the tone carried a shadow of doubt. Later, when I shared this story with others, they dismissed my unease, saying I was being sensitive. I began to wonder, am I overthinking this? But as time went on, the same patterns emerged. They would subtly question my choices or reframe my experiences. I realized I wasn't being overly sensitive, I was being manipulated. Stoicism helped me step back and assess the situation rationally. I started keeping notes of key interactions, recording not just what was said, but how it made me feel. Over time, this practice helped me reclaim my confidence and see through the manipulative tactics at play. To counter gaslighting, document conversations and interactions. Keeping a journal or notes serves as a reminder of what truly happened, grounding you in reality when doubts creep in. Trust your instincts. They are often a better guide than you realize. If something feels off, reflect before accepting someone else's narrative. Seek an outside perspective from someone you trust, beyond the manipulative relationship. Their validation can be a lifeline when your reality feels shaky. And most importantly, set boundaries. Don't engage in endless debates with someone trying to distort your reality. Calmly state your perspective and step away if they refuse to respect it. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Gaslighting thrives on confusion, but clarity is your strongest shield. By grounding yourself in truth, practicing emotional resilience, and refusing to surrender your inner compass, you can break free from manipulation. In the face of gaslighting, remember this: your reality is yours to define. No one has the right to rewrite your story. 2. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is one of the most cunning forms of manipulation. It disguises accountability as vulnerability, leaving you burdened with guilt for actions that were never your responsibility. At first, it may appear as a cry for help, a plea for understanding. But beneath the surface, it's a calculated move to shift focus away from their harmful behavior and onto your supposed insensitivity. Imagine this: a close friend frequently criticizes you for not spending enough time together. They say things like, "I'm going through so much and you're never there for me," or, "I thought we were closer than this. I guess I was wrong." You begin to feel like a terrible friend, questioning whether you've been selfish or neglectful. But what they never mention are the countless times they dismissed your needs or disregarded your boundaries. Slowly, their narrative makes you feel as though every fracture in the relationship is your fault. This manipulation works because it strikes at the core of human empathy. Most of us want to be supportive, understanding, and kind. But manipulators exploit these virtues, turning your compassion into chains that tether you to their control. As you shoulder their pain, you lose sight of your own needs and boundaries. The relationship becomes unbalanced. One person constantly gives while the other takes without accountability. Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this dynamic. Epictetus wisely observed, "It is not events themselves that disturb people, but their judgments about those events." When faced with someone playing the victim, it's essential to step back and question whether their narrative aligns with reality. Are they truly seeking help, or are they deflecting responsibility? This distinction is crucial, as it allows you to practice compassion without enabling manipulation. Let me share an example. I once had a colleague who often leaned on others to complete their work. Whenever deadlines loomed, they would say things like, "I'm so overwhelmed right now. I don't know how I'll manage." Naturally, their team, myself included, stepped in to help. But over time, a pattern emerged. They never took steps to manage their workload or improve their efficiency. Instead, their pleas for help became more frequent, and the burden shifted entirely to those around them. Eventually, when someone questioned their effort, they responded with, "I'm doing my best. Do you have any idea how hard things are for me right now?" At first, I felt guilty for doubting them. However, Stoicism taught me to examine situations objectively. I began to recognize that their struggles, while real, didn't justify the constant redistribution of responsibility. This realization helped me set boundaries. I could offer support without allowing myself to be overwhelmed or manipulated. To counteract the manipulation of playing the victim, the first step is awareness. Pay attention to patterns. If someone consistently avoids responsibility while framing themselves as a victim, it's a sign of manipulation. Document your interactions to identify recurring behaviors. Next, practice what the Stoics call compassionate detachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care in a way that protects your emotional well-being. For instance, you can say, "I understand you're going through a tough time. but this doesn't excuse how you treated me. Such statements acknowledge their struggles while holding them accountable. Additionally, reflect on the balance of your relationship. Are your needs being respected, or are they overshadowed by the other person's narrative? Marcus Aurelius advised, be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. While this encourages understanding, it doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. It's about maintaining empathy while safeguarding your boundaries. Lastly, build a network of trusted allies who can provide an outside perspective. Sharing your experiences with someone who values you for who you are, not just what you give, can validate your reality and remind you of your worth. True relationships are built on mutual respect, where both parties take responsibility for their actions. Manipulators who play the victim seek to shift accountability and draw others into their emotional storms. But as Stoics remind us, we are not obligated to internalize the struggles of others, especially when those struggles are wielded as tools of control. Compassion, when paired with clarity and firm boundaries, becomes a force for connection rather than manipulation. Remember, your empathy is a strength, not a weakness. By staying anchored in your truth, you can navigate these dynamics with wisdom and resilience. 3. Overloading. Overloading is one of the most effective manipulation tactics. It preys on your emotional and mental capacity by flooding you with too much information, leaving no room to process or respond. This tactic thrives in both personal relationships and today's digital world, especially on social media. In these spaces, the relentless stream of information and demands can create chaos and exhaustion, making it harder to discern truth from manipulation. Imagine a situation on social media. You post a thoughtful opinion on a sensitive topic. Within minutes, the comments flood in. Some agree, others argue, while a few are outright attacks. Each response demands attention, leaving you overwhelmed and questioning yourself. Did I say something wrong? Should I delete the post? This is a classic example of overloading, where the sheer volume of reactions leads to emotional exhaustion, making you more likely to retreat or second-guess your thoughts. In personal relationships, overloading often takes the form of piling grievances on you at once. Imagine someone bringing up past mistakes, recent missteps, and even unrelated issues in a single conversation. They might say, "You never listen to me, you prioritize everyone else, and don't forget how you embarrassed me last month." The result? You feel trapped, unable to address every point, and end up apologizing or conceding just to end the emotional onslaught. The Stoics understood the impact of chaos on clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of resisting overloading, focusing on your inner clarity rather than external noise. When faced with a barrage of information, pause and anchor yourself to what matters most. Overloading is especially dangerous today because of the constant demands of the digital world. Social media algorithms amplify emotionally charged content, keeping you engaged with sensational headlines, conflicting opinions, and perfectly curated images that provoke comparison and doubt. This mirrors the tactic of overloading in personal manipulation, overwhelming your mental space until you feel disoriented and unsure. Let me share an example. A friend of mine once experienced overloading in the workplace. During a performance review, their manager listed not one or two areas for improvement, but a dozen criticisms, many of which were vague or irrelevant. Your communication needs work. Your time management isn't great. Also, your team engagement could be better. The feedback wasn't constructive. It was paralyzing. Instead of motivating growth, the overload created confusion and self-doubt, leaving them unsure of where to begin. To counter overloading, the first step is to recognize it and pause. When overwhelmed, take a moment to breathe and step back. In a personal relationship, this might sound like, "I hear what you're saying, but I need time to process everything before responding." On social media, it means setting boundaries, such as taking breaks or limiting interactions with emotionally charged content. Next, prioritize clarity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Instead of trying to address everything at once, focus on the most important issues. If someone overwhelms you with complaints, ask them to tackle one concern at a time. This shifts the conversation into manageable parts and disarms the manipulative tactic. Finally, cultivate habits that protect your mental peace. Journaling is a powerful tool to process emotions and identify patterns in manipulative behaviors. Writing down your thoughts can act as a filter, helping you separate truth from manipulation. Practices like mindfulness and meditation teach you to remain present, reducing the impact of emotional overload. Surround yourself with people who value thoughtful and respectful communication. These relationships serve as an anchor when faced with chaos. Overloading isn't just an interpersonal issue, it's a challenge of modern life. Social media, workplace pressures, and cultural expectations contribute to a constant barrage of information and demands. However, Stoicism reminds us that while we can't control external chaos, we can master our response. By cultivating inner clarity, setting boundaries, and focusing on what truly matters, we can navigate the storm of overloading with resilience and confidence. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. When confronted with overloading, reclaim your focus and trust that clarity will always guide you back to your strength. 4. Triangulation. Triangulation is one of the most divisive manipulation tactics. It doesn't just target one person, it pulls in a third party, creating a web of tension and mistrust. The manipulator becomes the center, using this triangular dynamic to control the narrative, sow discord, and isolate the victim. It's a subtle yet powerful tool, often disguised as concern or mediation. Imagine this scenario. A colleague approaches you and says, "You know, others in the team think you're not pulling your weight on the project." They claim they're just passing on feedback for your own good. Naturally, you feel defensive and hurt, but what stings more is the silence from the supposed third party. You start wondering, do they really think this about me? Why didn't they say anything directly? The manipulator has achieved their goal, planting a seed of doubt and creating a rift between you and your peers. Triangulation thrives in environments where communication is already fragile. By controlling the flow of information and using others as pawns, manipulators position themselves as indispensable. They stir conflict between two people to secure their own power, all while maintaining the appearance of innocence. You're left feeling disconnected and unsure whom to trust. The Stoics recognized the value of direct relationships and clear communication. Seneca advised, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." This wisdom highlights the importance of nurturing relationships built on trust and honesty, not allowing a third party to distort those connections. When you notice triangulation, your first step should be to strengthen direct communication with others involved. Don't let someone else dictate your perceptions of those around you. Let me share an example. A friend once confided in me about a situation at their workplace. Their manager frequently compared them to a colleague, saying things like, "You should be more like them. They never miss deadlines." At first, this seemed like constructive feedback, but over time, it became clear that the manager was pitting them against each other. The supposed perfect colleague later admitted they'd been hearing similar comparisons, such as, "You need to be as creative as them." The manager was fostering competition and mistrust between two capable employees, ensuring both remained dependent on their approval. In personal relationships, triangulation can be equally damaging. Suppose a family member tells you, "Your sibling thinks you don't care about the family anymore." Or a friend says, "Someone told me you've been acting distant lately." These statements may or may not be true, but they create emotional distance and tension. The manipulator becomes the gatekeeper of your relationships, feeding you just enough information to make you question your bonds with others. To counteract triangulation, prioritize direct communication. If someone claims a third party has an issue with you, approach that person calmly and respectfully. Ask for clarification without assuming blame. For example, you might say, "I heard there might be a misunderstanding between us. Can we talk about it directly?" This approach removes the manipulator's power and fosters honesty between you and the other person. Another key step is recognizing patterns. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." If you notice someone consistently bringing up others' opinions or creating conflict, it's a sign of manipulation. Rather than engaging with the drama, focus on maintaining your integrity and clear communication. Building strong, trusting relationships is your best defense against triangulation. Surround yourself with people who value open dialogue and mutual respect. The manipulator's power lies in their ability to isolate you. Don't give them that opportunity. Encourage an environment where everyone feels comfortable speaking directly, and don't let fear of confrontation deter you from seeking clarity. Lastly, reflect on your role in these dynamics. Are you allowing someone to mediate your relationships unnecessarily? Stoicism teaches us to take responsibility for our actions and decisions. By stepping away from indirect communication and refusing to entertain gossip, you reclaim control over your interactions and protect your peace. Triangulation is a subtle yet destructive tactic. It thrives on mistrust and secrecy, but it crumbles in the face of clarity and open communication. As Seneca reminds us, the best way to preserve relationships is through trust and honesty. When you refuse to let a third party shape your reality, you reclaim your confidence and strengthen your connections. 5. Silent treatment. The silent treatment is one of the most emotionally unsettling manipulation tactics. At first, it may seem like a response to conflict, a momentary pause to cool off. But when used deliberately, it becomes a tool of control, aimed at destabilizing your emotions and eroding your sense of self-worth. Unlike other forms of manipulation, the silent treatment doesn't rely on words. It thrives in their absence. This calculated silence sends a message loud and clear. You're unworthy of acknowledgement until you conform to my expectations. Imagine this scenario. You have a disagreement with a loved one. Instead of engaging in a conversation, they shut down completely. Days go by without a single word. Your calls and messages are ignored. The weight of silence grows heavier with each passing moment, filling the space with uncertainty and anxiety. You begin to question yourself. Did I say too much? Should I have apologized? Am I the problem? The manipulator's silence becomes a mirror that reflects your insecurities, making you feel small and powerless. The silent treatment works because it targets the human need for connection. As social beings, we crave acknowledgement and resolution. When someone withholds communication, it creates a void that we instinctively try to fill, often by compromising our boundaries or offering unwarranted apologies just to restore harmony. Stoicism provides a guiding light in these moments of emotional turmoil. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom reminds us that while we cannot control the silence of others, we can control our response to it. Instead of internalizing the blame, Stoicism encourages us to anchor ourselves in self-awareness and emotional resilience. I once witnessed the devastating impact of the silent treatment in a close friend's life. After a minor disagreement with their partner, days of silence followed. At first, they tried to justify it, saying, maybe they just need space. But as the silence stretched on, their confidence began to crumble. They spent sleepless nights replaying the argument, dissecting every word, searching for something they could have done differently. It wasn't until we spoke that they realized this pattern had occurred many times before, each time leaving them more anxious and uncertain. To counter the silent treatment, the first step is to recognize it for what it is: a manipulative tactic designed to exert control. Acknowledge your emotions, but resist the urge to immediately react. This pause is crucial. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. By remaining calm, you reclaim your power and refuse to let silence dictate your actions. The next step is to set boundaries. If someone uses silence as a weapon, address it directly but respectfully. For instance, you might say, I understand you may need time to process, but this lack of communication is hurtful. Let's talk when you're ready. This approach acknowledges their feelings while asserting your need for respectful dialogue. Another key practice is self-reflection. Journaling can help you process your emotions and identify patterns in the relationship. Are you consistently walking on eggshells, fearing their withdrawal? Recognizing these patterns empowers you to make informed decisions about the relationship's future. Building a support system is also vital. Share your experiences with trusted friends or family members who can offer perspective and validation. Manipulators often isolate their victims, making the silent treatment even more effective. Surrounding yourself with supportive voices breaks this isolation and reminds you of your worth. In the digital age, the silent treatment extends to social media. Ignored messages, unreturned calls, and deliberate online absences can magnify its emotional impact. Stoicism teaches us not to seek validation from external sources. As Epictetus wisely said, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Instead of chasing acknowledgement, focus on nurturing your inner peace and self-respect. The silent treatment is powerful because it preys on our need for connection. But silence, when met with clarity and strength, loses its hold. By setting boundaries, practicing self-awareness, and seeking support, you can break free from the emotional fog it creates. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, silence is a lesson in itself. When wielded intentionally, silence becomes a tool of self-reflection and growth, not manipulation. Remember this: no one's silence has the power to define your worth. Reclaim your voice, honor your boundaries, and trust in the strength of your own mind. 6. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is one of the most emotionally draining manipulation tactics. It disguises control as care, exploiting your natural sense of responsibility and compassion to achieve compliance. The manipulator uses guilt as a weapon, planting seeds of self-doubt that grow into emotional burdens. While guilt itself is a natural response, guilt tripping transforms it into a tool of control, leaving you feeling powerless and ashamed. Picture this. A friend reaches out, asking for help with a project at the last minute. You're overwhelmed with your own responsibilities and kindly explain that you can't assist this time. Their response? "I thought you were the kind of person I could count on. I guess I was wrong." Suddenly, what should have been a reasonable boundary becomes a source of shame. You find yourself wondering, am I selfish? Did I let them down? Their carefully chosen words leave you second-guessing your integrity. This tactic works because it preys on our innate desire to be good and do good. It reframes healthy boundaries as selfishness, making you feel like you owe something to the manipulator. Over time, guilt tripping wears away your ability to say no, leaving you trapped in a cycle of obligation and regret. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful antidote to this manipulation. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This wisdom reminds us that true freedom comes from taking responsibility for our own actions and refusing to carry burdens that are not ours to bear. Guilt tripping thrives on your willingness to accept blame that doesn't belong to you. Recognizing this is the first step to breaking free. Let me share a story. A family member often used guilt tripping to get their way. Anytime they asked for something and I hesitated, they would say, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" Those words cut deep. I began to feel as though my worth was tied to how much I could give. I stretched myself thin trying to meet their expectations, even when it came at the expense of my own well-being. It wasn't until I turned to Stoicism that I understood the need to separate genuine responsibility from imposed guilt. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. This clarity helped me evaluate whether my actions were driven by my values or by the fear of disappointing others. Over time, I learned to respond with compassion, but without surrendering my boundaries. To counter guilt tripping, start by identifying the patterns. Manipulators often use phrases like, "If you really cared, you would," or "I guess I just can't rely on you anymore." These statements are designed to provoke guilt and shift the focus from their unreasonable demands to your perceived shortcomings. Recognizing these tactics helps you detach emotionally and approach the situation with a clear mind. Next, practice assertiveness. Respond to guilt tripping with calm and clarity. For example, say, "I understand how you feel, but I need to make decisions that align with my priorities." This approach acknowledges their emotions without allowing them to dictate their actions. It's important to maintain a tone of respect while standing firm in your decision. Reflection is another essential tool. Ask yourself, is this guilt justified? Am I being asked to take responsibility for something beyond my control? Writing these thoughts in a journal can provide perspective and help you discern whether your actions are guided by integrity or by the fear of disappointing others. Surrounding yourself with supportive individuals is equally important. A trusted circle of friends or mentors can remind you of your worth and validate your choices, counteracting the emotional fog that guilt-tripping creates. Stoicism teaches us to value relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, not on manipulation or coercion. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When faced with guilt-tripping, refuse to mirror the manipulator's tactics. Instead, respond with clarity, self-respect, and steadfastness. This not only protects your peace, but also models a healthier way of interacting. Guilt-tripping seeks to control through shame, but it loses its power when you reclaim your sense of self. By recognizing the tactic, setting boundaries, and staying grounded in your values, you can navigate these manipulative dynamics with strength and grace. Remember, your worth is not measured by how much you give to others. It is defined by the integrity and wisdom with which you live your life. Gaslighting tactics like guilt-tripping, silent treatment, and triangulation may seem subtle, but their impact is profound. They twist perceptions, erode confidence, and leave emotional scars. Yet, as Marcus Aurelius teaches us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. True strength comes from recognizing manipulation and reclaiming control over your reality. Imagine standing in a storm, the wind howling around you. It's easy to feel lost, but Stoicism reminds us that the calm within is your anchor. By cultivating clarity, setting boundaries, and grounding yourself in your values, you can rise above the noise and navigate life with confidence. These lessons are not just philosophical, they are practical tools to protect your emotional well-being. Keep a journal to document truths. Surround yourself with relationships built on respect, and trust your instincts when something feels off. These small actions form a shield against manipulation, giving you the strength to face even the most challenging situations. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced any of these tactics? How did you overcome them? Share your story in the comments below, not only to unburden yourself, but to inspire others who might be struggling silently. Remember, your worth is not defined by others' actions or words. It is grounded in your ability to stay true to yourself. That is where real freedom begins.